We're just leaving Table Rock State Park. Still on the kind of the day hiker, dog walker trails. This is an absolutely gorgeous day. We're down here in the valley, in the ravine, and we're going to be climbing up the Table Rock Trail for a little bit before we split off. I believe we're not going over Table Rock, but we're going over Sassafras Mountain in a few miles. So this is day one of my 6-day shakedown hike of the preparation for the Appalachian Trail hike next spring. I haven't been out since July of this year, and that was a short 3-day hike in the Smoky Mountains. So this will be a nominal cold weather. I think it's supposed to get down to around maybe 30 one of the nights. So nothing too brutal, but got some new gear I wanted to test on this hike, and also just kind of generally evaluate all my gear and set up, make sure I'm ready for the AT, or if I still need to reevaluate and maybe replace some of the gear. A little stream crossing right here. So that's the purpose of this hike, and I haven't really been out on a long, gratifying hike since about this time last year. So it's Thanksgiving week, and these are very temperate temperatures considering it's late November. Highs are in probably the 60s at altitude, and lows in the low 30s, with 1 day of rain expected on Tuesday, the day after tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. New rain gear is part of what I'm testing. The camera doesn't do it justice, I'm sure, but I was a little bit worried, this being second week of November, that nearing the end of the second week of November, that there wouldn't be much color left, but there's some good golds and greens combining nicely right there. A little bit of red. I mean, a lot of the leaves are on the ground compared to about 3 weeks ago when it was peak leaf, but the ones that are on the trees are still pretty colorful. Check this out. It's not bad. And we're still down pretty low, so we don't really have a view of the hillsides just yet. Just stepped out onto this open face rock boulder here. Very reminiscent of Stone Mountain, but check out this view, huh? Oh, so I don't want to say we're near the summit, but there's not a lot of land above the horizon line from here, so I believe we're almost there. You can hear motorcycles off in the valley. I guess that's Table Rock behind us there. We did not climb Table Rock. We kind of came up this side of it. I just arrived on this campsite. It's not where I'm staying. I've got about 3.5 more miles to go, but this is the Lighthouse campsite. And so this is when you walk up on it, on the trail. There's a fire pit, some electric tarp, but you're kind of in this walled in sea of boulders and cliffs. It's very protected and it's pretty cool. Benches, fire ring, giant boulders. Weather's been nice, the scenery's been pretty good, but man, I am wiped. I'm sure it's a combination of this portion of the trail is very strenuous. I feel like I said this before, and I'm probably a little out of shape, and I have a very full pack. Albeit only 3 days of food. Looks like I crested the hill just in time to see the sunset through the trees. It's going to be gone by the time I round a bend or two and get clear, if I ever get clear. Let's see, there you go. Well, here I am on the observation deck of Sassafras Mountain. There's a bunch of visitors climbing the stairs and ramps on the way up here, so my solitude is about to be interrupted. Ooh, windy and cold. So, this is where I make my announcement that I will be hiking the Appalachian Trail 2024, starting in March, from Springer Mountain, from Waterfalls Falls, maybe, I'm not sure yet. So there you have it. I'm on day 2 of a 6-day or 7-day hike of the Foothills Trail. That's why I'm here on top of Sassafras Mountain at 10:15 on a Monday morning. The views are okay. Clouds are low, but you can still see pretty far. It's kind of nice. Cold and windy though. I'm going to keep hiking. I got a late start this morning. I've only been hiking for about 45 minutes. So, this is the second one of these I've seen. It looks like the bear cables in this area have a red band on the trees to mark them. And they're very simple and straightforward. There's no pie pans and there's no handholds and any of that stuff from the Smoky Mountain ones. It's just like one cable and a hook on the tree to hold it up. Anyway, cool. I just took a little sit-down break at the parking lot behind me. Speaking of road walk, I'm glad I checked the map to see how much longer this road walk is, because I discovered that I'm not supposed to be on this road. Foothills Trail heads off into the woods like almost immediately from where I was, so no wonder I don't remember this long road walk. Well, here it is. It was right by the video sign. There it is. Walked right past it. All right. Oh, good grief. That's vertical. Like my hat. Well, it's late on day 2 still. Finally crossing the pretty mountain streams now that we're way down in the valley. It's pretty much a flat walk from here all the way to campsite. I've decided, I think, I'll see when I get there. It's another 0.3 miles, but I'm gonna stop at Virginia something instead of going all the way to Laurel Creek. I was cutting it 2.5 miles short, but it's gonna be dark. I'll be hiking in the dark for 30 minutes if I go all the way to Laurel Creek. And I wanna have a little bit of daylight to work on my hammock knots and what have you. Yeah, I'll have to look at how to divide up the extra mileage. It's a lot further to my food than I thought it was. But I think I'm gonna be okay. I just need to take a look at that tonight. And I just added 2.5 miles to that, so you'd think I would know what I was doing by now. Good morning. It's 6 a.m. and it's pouring rain. It's been pouring rain for 2 hours now, maybe. Got a long day today, so I'm starting early. I've got to do 14 miles, and it's still pretty rough terrain. I think after tomorrow, the last 2 days will be pretty smooth. Got to do 14 miles today, which is quite a lot for me right now. So I'm trying to get an early start. But it's raining on top of that, so more later. That's the Laurel Fork Falls. There's a campsite right next to it, or right behind it. Jason and I stayed there 2018 hike, and I was supposed to stay there last night, but I cut it, 2 miles short. So I've hiked as far as I was supposed to go yesterday, minus the, 0.3 miles of spur trail to get to the campsite. So I'm going to continue on the foothills. So it's 11:35. I've walked 3 hours and 25 minutes straight with no breaks. According to my math on this, that's 6.3 miles. That's great. It's more than half, it's like half my day. I feel great. I should be taking breaks, but it's very invigorating in a sense to walk in the rain. Even though the footing is tricky sometimes. Anyway, I was gonna say, if these are the guys that did these signs, hats off to them. This is great. The date on here is May of 2019, so this is definitely since the last time I hiked this trail, and they all kind of look like they're in the same font, all the ones I've seen, but they go all the way, so nice project, and nice job. If it was anybody else, nice job too. Let's see, I should probably take a break. The rain is pretty slim right here, so it might be a good time to sit down for a minute. At the Rock Creek campsite, I'm a loss for words. The downside of this paca, which is rain jacket with pack cover built in and long like a poncho sort of, is that you have to take the whole thing off to take your backpack off. And I don't know if there's a workaround. There's a workaround for that. So I'm still evaluating whether that will be my loadout for the big hike. It's still dripping, still coming down, but not too hard, not as hard as it was before. All right, break time, lunchtime, I guess. Well, about to hit the trail again. The good news is, in 1.2 miles, there's a pretty. I didn't realize there were pretties. I know there's a bathroom at Waterfalls parking, but apparently the Toxaway campsites in 1 point something miles has a pretty, which is good. The bad news is, got to go over Heartbreak Ridge, which is just a ridiculously steep climb and an even steeper descent. It's about this much on the map. It's just going over this blade of a ridge, aptly named, I suppose. I do remember it. Not fun. It was hot the last time we did this, so it was pretty brutal then. But wet is really the slipperiness of it, and the fact that my knees hurt on the descents. So it'd be a nice campsite. So this is the Toxaway River suspension bridge. It's like the coolest suspension bridge on the trail, I believe. I just went over a smaller one on one of the side streams just a few steps before this one, but this one's pretty nice. This is the river. It's out to Lake Jocossi. If you keep going around those bends. And this is coming down from, I believe, from Lake Toxaway, but don't quote me on that. And then look at the staircase we're going to have to climb in a minute. Well, I'm about 1.3 miles from camp, so 30 minutes or so. It just started thunder and lightning, so it got really dark maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes ago. And now the rain's really coming down hard again. But there's been a couple of lightning claps. They're about 8 seconds. I don't know what that means. But they're not right on top, but it's the first lightning of the day. The water from the creek is brown from the heavy rain. So this is what I'm doing. That will be my dinner water. It is really coming down as hard as it's come all day. It sounds like there's a helicopter overhead, but that's probably just a trick of the white noise like I was talking about earlier. you hear things when it's white noise like this. It's very difficult for everything to stay dry, even under the tarp, because of splatter and what have you. Everything gets kind of misted. I can feel it misting me. I need to tighten up my hammock. My hang is pretty good, but I'm pretty close to the ground. I need to tighten the ends, I think. Cinch them up a little bit. I'm sore from, my lower back is sore from not being able to stand up straight under this tarp and trying to get naked, dry myself off, put on dry long underwear, all while hoping someone doesn't walk up, or the two ladies that are hammocking right over there. You know, I was behind my hammock, so all was good from that direction, but anybody could have seen me coming up the trail, which I don't think anyone is anymore. God, have I packed my comb yet? That's going wavy today, isn't it? Look like Neptune or something. I did not have a good night last night. I was not able to hang my bear bag. There doesn't seem to be anything around here but scary looking dead trees. That one, that would, you know, fall right on me if it fell. I mean, literally, there's only one direction it can fall, and it would be right on me. I didn't even see that in the dark. But besides that, there's nothing with a horizontal branch anywhere around here that I could find in the dark last night. So I just kept my fingers crossed. But I kept waking up in the middle of the night with bear anxiety. I could hear dogs barking off in the distance around, I don't know, midnight maybe, 11, 1, something like that. That indicates to me bear hunters, and or you know, they treat a raccoon or whatever. But I'm sure people hunt raccoons. Man, there's a lot of dead trees around here. How is this a campsite? So this was like not but 100 yards from where I camped last night. The main thing is working bear cables. Right there. And everything on Far Out said that the bear cables were broken because of this log that blow down dead tree that fell on it sometime earlier this year. But apparently they've been repaired, so I'll have to leave a note in Far Out that the bear cable's back up and working. This is where, if I were traveling with people, somebody would hold my camera and film me climbing over this thing. As it is, I'll have to tell you about it later. Well, I made it. Walk with me. You know, if there were such a thing as perfect hiking weather, this would be the picture next to the definition in the dictionary. If you could render this in that little copper etched New York Times kind of dictionary illustration style, it would be this. Temperature and everything. I was thinking that originally I was up on a higher ridge behind me, and it was sunny but also cool and breeze blowing. Now I've come down a little bit in elevation and around the bend into a full sunlight, and it's actually feeling warm in the direct sun and cool in the shade. The ground is wet, but the aromas are strong. And you round the end of a little, I don't know what these are called, the outside elbow of the ins and outs road. That teaches me to do it without poles. Oftentimes when you round the end of one of those, you get a blast of breeze, and then you walk back into the pocket for the inside L. But is that my watch going off? Can you hear it? So spirits lifted. I was down in a down mood last night, sitting in my hammock, imagining sounds in the dark and everything's cold and wet, and wondering if I'll be able to cope with damp clothes for the next 3 days, things like that. But usually the next day is better. I'm not going to say every time, but you have to kind of hold out for that next day that's better, because there always is one. All right, I'm going to use my poles. This is treacherous. You're killing me with these stairs. Just came down that. Those are like 12-inch risers. And now I've got to go down this. Standing on the bridge over Horse Pasture Creek, I guess. It said horse pasture on the bridge. But man, these boards are slick as snot on ice. I was noticing on the big suspension bridge over Toxaway yesterday that the deck boards were actually metal plates with a slight rust patina on them, so they actually had pretty good traction compared to this. These are damp from yesterday's rain and might as well be covered in mucus. Well, that was gorgeous. Halfway. Yeah. Made it to the halfway point before noon on day 4. So I'm ahead of schedule. Oh no. Holy cow. I'm exactly halfway. That's funny. Pure coincidence. Hilliard Falls, ladies and gentlemen. And back to me. So yeah, totally worth the side trip for this one. There's many more waterfalls to come. Most of them are on trail, but this one, very nice. You may be wondering what time it is. Peanut butter jelly time.